one of the tweets, I said, our founding fathers, a guy responds back and says, those are not your founding fathers. Guy posts a picture of the Shah of Iran, says, that's your founding father.
Oh, so funny.
But that tells you what, a part of this, there's nationalists and there's white nationalists. White nationalists, Vinny, don't want people like us here.
I know.
They just don't.
Ooh, things are getting hot. We are on the PBD podcast today. Patrick Bet-David, he's talking to his co-hosts. We got Vinny, we got the other guys. And it's all about the huge firestorm that erupted over Christmas as a result of Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy tweeting that the H-1B visa program is absolutely necessary in order for America to win, whatever that means. And that we need to poach all the best talent from whatever country, especially India, because apparently 70% of H-1B visa recipients are Indians. And not only did they tweet that, but they both said that Americans are lazy and entitled and don't want to do the jobs, the usual things that that these people say, especially people like Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. Basically, they want to pay less for, they want to hire foreign workers so they don't have to pay American worker wages. And, of course, H-1B is for white-collar jobs, but the same thing happens mainly through illegal immigration, but also through legal immigration for blue-collar jobs or unskilled jobs, even. So this has unleashed a firestorm. Patrick Bet-David weighed in on Twitter, too. And a lot of people, supposed, MAGA types, supporters, generally speaking, of Patrick Bet-David, were not happy with what he had to say. Because these guys, they simply don't get it. Now, strap in, because it's going to get... I'm an immigration hardliner, so if you don't like that guy, if you already think that you're not going to like what I have to say, you might want to watch one of my other videos. But let's see. Let's get into it.
Think about when Dallas Mavericks bring Dirk Nowitzki or Luka or Giannis or all these players that are coming from the European system here. And Kobe would always bash the AAU system in the States. And he came from the Italian, he learned how to play basketball, the fundamentals in Europe. Why do they translate from that league? It's results. So my only concern with this argument is...
Well, there we go. Let's already stop, because this was one of the arguments being made by Vivek on Twitter, on X, that, it's like a basketball team. It's like a team. America's a team. We want all the best players, so we just look around the world for the best players, and we put together our all-star team. That's what it's all about with these visas. We just want the best people. And as thousands and thousands of people rightly replied, yeah, America is not a basketball team, actually. It's our home. And there's a lot more to America than this nebulous concept of winning as espoused by somebody like, an oligarch like Elon Musk, or a millionaire like Vivek Ramaswamy, who, by the way, made his millions in what sounds to be a pretty shady way. But I don't know the full details on that. But anyway, that's all they see. They see, oh, America, a great, look at this economic zone that we can exploit. And these these labor production units, or people, I guess we can call them, these labor production units. Well, these ones, these labor production units here in this economic zone called America are kind of expensive. So let's convince the politicians to let us import labor production units from other parts of the world where they'll be quite happy to work for less, a lot less. And we'll just import them, and, they can tend to a house or whatever. And yeah, it'll be great for our bottom line. And amazingly, a huge part of Donald Trump's base, the MAGA base, were greatly offended by this and outraged, and rightly so, in my opinion.
Yes, keep the jobs in America. Yes, give the jobs to American graduates. Yes, make it competitive here. And if some of these guys are coming here that are the smartest people, why not keep them? Why not recognize them? Why not respect the fact that they create jobs? One of the tweets, I said, our founding fathers, a guy responds back and says, those are not your founding fathers. Guy posts a picture of the Shah of Iran, says, that's your founding father.
Oh, so funny.
But that tells you what, a part of it.
That's pretty based, actually. And of course, these guys are going to be outraged by that. And yeah, it's true. If you're a recent immigrant, our founding fathers, if we're talking about the American founding fathers, aren't their founding fathers. Now, this, of course, gets into the whole identity of, well, what's an American? Or what's a Belgian? I live in Belgium. Or what's a German? What's an Englishman? What's a Frenchman? And I've said this in other videos, probably going to upset some of you. I know some of you, I saw some comments about this. Well, if you're in a European country, by definition, someone like Patrick Bet-David, who was an immigrant from Iran, and is of Assyrian and I think Armenian ethnicity. Yeah, I mean, they're not European. Okay, we can let in a certain number of non-Europeans. Well, in the history of the United States, let's go back a bit. Until 1965, virtually all immigration to the United States was from Europe, and that was by design. It wasn't just that, oh, look, these Europeans happen to show up, and yeah, let's let them in. No. America implemented immigration policies of different kinds at different times, and wanted immigrants from almost exclusively from Europe, with one or two exceptions. Famously, the United States imported a bunch of Chinese workers to work on the railroad for a certain period and for a certain job for a certain time, and then cut it off. It was a pretty sane immigration policy. That all changed in 1965 with the Immigration Act of 1965, which purposely just dismantled that very sane and coherent immigration policy and just opened up the United States to immigration from anywhere in the world, which now, 60 years later, is proven to be problematic, and people are getting offended if you say, wow. Now, if you say, well, actually, yeah, European countries or countries created by Europeans, like the United States and the Anglosphere, should favor greatly immigration from Europe. Absolutely. It just makes sense because Europeans are going to be closer in spirit and heritage to the founders of places like, of the United States. It just makes sense. And people will call you a racist for saying that. I'm sure I'll hear it in the comments from some people. And I've tried to talk about this to people in real life. I used to try and talk about this to my family members, but yeah, that's not possible. But you can even see, I mean, this is a big problem as far as I'm concerned with the whole conservative movement in the States. They just won't say this basic principle. They'll say, well, these people have different values, or these people are Muslims and we're traditionally a Christian country. Well, it's not really the religion. I'm sorry. It's the ethnicity, actually. That's the big problem. It is, because multiculturalism simply doesn't work. It can work for longer, your country can work in spite of it for longer, the bigger it is. America is a big country, geographically, physically big, much bigger population and all that. And it has a different context than European countries, but European countries, like where I live, are much smaller, much more compact. And the effects of just rampant or unhindered migration are devastating, and we are seeing it.
There's a nationalist and there's white nationalists. Mm-hmm. White nationalists, Vinny, don't want people like us here. I know. They just don't. White nationalists are a very different model, and they can have that argument, but this got very ugly very quick.
Yeah, no, you're spot on with the white nationalist thing. So what I'm concerned about is you made an amazing tweet because your prediction has basically come true. What they're doing to basically divide and conquer Trump versus Elon. That's what I'm focused on. Can you turn me up a little bit, guys? But it's sort of what you've seen the comments that are being made by Steve Bannon and Stephen Miller. They're sort of.
What do you think about it?
So here's what I'm thinking.
Can I read the tweet so the audience knows, and then I'll go to you?
Please do.
So here's what Steve Bannon said. Steve Bannon said, let me be clear on H-1B. I want zero. The whole thing is about, they're only geniuses, H-1B visas. That's not what it's about. It's about making American jobs and bringing over essentially what have become indentured servants at lower wages. The thing's a scam by the oligarchs in Silicon Valley to basically take jobs from American citizens, give them to what become indentured servants from foreign countries and pay them less. Simple. That's what he said.
And he does have a point right there. There is a point to basically what's happening with these guys with these H-1B visas. You said, you know, you can pay them less versus an American.
Oh, yeah.
By the way,
views definitely happen.
by the way, I know people who basically outsource jobs and say, well, I can pay an American worker here $30 an hour. I can pay some guy in the Philippines or in India $4 an hour. So it works both ways. But what's happening with MAGA versus Musk, it's sort of like MAGA 1.0 versus MAGA 2.0. Who's MAGA 1.0? The guys that have been there 10 years versus the people that have been there basically 10 months. So you have the nationalists that you talked about right there. So you have the working class people, the America first, that want to put America first. They're sort of the populists. They're the protectionists. You might almost say isolationists. MAGA 2.0, the people that have basically been there for 10 months versus 10 years. These are honestly former liberals, some of them. They're tech people. A lot of them are billionaires. They're the elites. They're a different form of MAGA. So the interesting thing here is when you do politics, you want to have a big tent party. Hey, we need your votes. We need your votes. We need your votes. Okay, we got your votes. And now you're like, yeah, get the hell out of here. Hold on, I'm sorry. You don't want Elon Musk? You don't want Vivek? Elon Musk gave how much money to Trump? $200 billion? All of a sudden, he's the bad guy? So this conversation that's being had needs to happen, no doubt. By the way, Trump hasn't even assumed office yet. It's crazy. Because, you know, they say that the way that you campaign is different than how you govern. When you campaign, you made broad, just sort of out there, outlandish commentary. Yeah. But when you govern, you actually have to do some nuanced debates. But as we always say, FTM, follow the money. Speaking of, you read a stat out there. What percentage of the H-1B visas are Indians?
75%.
Okay, so it's basically Indians.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about. So follow the money, GDP per capita. What's the GDP per capita in India? In India.
What does that matter? Yeah. And people are smart enough to see what massive migration of Indians is doing in Canada right now. If you don't believe me, even on places like Reddit, absolute liberal hellholes like Reddit, you know, you look on the various subreddits, even there, people are complaining about the impact of mass migration of Indians because mass migration always causes problems. And the further away the culture is from the host culture, the more problems it's going to cause. Now, in Canada's case, I believe they've got some ridiculous student visa program, which is just incentivizing diploma mill colleges to bring in loads and loads of students who notoriously cheat on everything. Yeah, don't blame me. You can look it up, you'll find out. So a lot of the Indians there have a very bad reputation, whereas H-1B supposedly is for higher level white collar employees. But even so, I'm sorry, you know, call me all the names you want, but there is nobody in India who America needs. America, or Europe, I should say. So the European country where I live, or the United States, or any Western country, there is not one single person from India that we need. Sorry, it's just the truth. I don't hate Indians. I have neighbors who are Indians. Fine people, you know, it's nothing to do with that. It's not hate. It's not racism or bigotry or anything like that. But the fact is, we don't need them. We should be absolutely, you know, giving giving jobs to our own people. So in my country, they should be going to Belgians, or in Germany to Germans, or in America to Americans at the very least. And to claim, if you start looking, people now have started looking into companies like Trump's company, or even Valuetainment, the hosts, you know, the ones who own Patrick Bet-David's company. Even he's applied for H-1B visas, but just for ordinary jobs, not for some super high-skilled, one-of-a-kind, you know, expert who can only be found in India, or who simply cannot be found in the United States. No, just for ordinary jobs, like accountant or something like that. Sorry, there's plenty of those, or even things like software developer. Yeah, no, we have plenty of those in the United States. Plenty. And it's absolutely well known and proven that employers are simply gaming the H-1B visa program to lay off their staff if they already have it, and then just replace them with cheaper labor from abroad. That is absolutely happening. The whole thing is outrageous. And yeah, it's going to, you know, I think, yes, there are going to have to be some hard and necessary conversations because, you know, as usual, the conservative types, as I call them, don't be offended if you're one of them. I probably was too. Actually, I was for many years. But the conservative types are like, no, you know, I don't see color. I don't see this and that. I just want the best from around the world. Well, why would you steal the best people from other countries? No, actually, it doesn't make sense at all. In fact, I think it's immoral. That's one thing. Secondly, yeah, where they come from does matter. Thirdly, the quality of the people matters. Fourthly, how many of them you bring in matters. All these things matter. And the old United States, prior to it, the old American immigration policy, recognized this very obvious fact. And ever since 1965, that has been thrown out the window. And, you know, and of course, there's the whole illegal immigration problem. But that's a different issue. That's not what the big firestorm right now is about. Anyway, as I said, strap in. There's going to be more of this in other videos. So let me know what you think in the comments. Maybe you think I'm an unrepentant bigot who's beyond the pale. Feel free to let me know. You know, if you can be respectful about it in the comments, I'll engage. I'll talk with you in the comments. Just like Patrick Bet-David was saying, you know, people are entitled to their opinion, but you should be able to substantiate it in some sort of way without just calling somebody names. So I've pretty much said my piece. There'll be more videos like this, though. This is a big issue, and I think it's going to be ongoing. So anyway, thanks for listening, and like and subscribe. Leave a comment. Really appreciate it, and see you in the next one.